Good evening, everyone. So far, we have taken up several topics which directly talk about how you can improve the productivity on the shop floor. This time, we have taken a generic topic, but very important topic to discuss. Uh, Supervisor, if I may say, is like the CEO of a shop floor, and he's actually fully accountable and responsible for the shop floor teams, production, implementation of company decisions, and is also the voice of the shop floor to the management. Okay. They manage day-to-day shop floor activities, they handle the continuous improvement, and also do the resource planning. Okay. Supervisors, as Kishore also said, are also mentors and coach to the workforce. They also manage the employee relationships and so on. Okay. Normally, it is said that if you have a very good supervisory team on the shop floor, a company can never have any industrial relationship issues or any conflicts in the workforce, because they are the first people who would come to know immediately, and if they know how to handle the team, then most of the industrial relationship issues can be addressed straight away. Okay. So we are going to talk about the. Let me share the screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So today we are going to talk about a supervisor who was recently promoted to production supervisor level after having worked on the same company for 7 years as a tradesman, and it's an engineering company. Let's call this supervisor as Subodh. So Subodh is his name, and he has been just recently promoted as a supervisor. Okay. And now we will take his journey, his questions, and his curiosity in terms of who is going to be a supervisor, what is a supervisor, and so on and so forth. So this talk actually can be very useful to the HR heads, production executives, and of course the supervisors who are on the shop floor, because it's all aimed toward these people. Okay. So on his first day as the supervisor, as in the supervisor role, Subodh is obviously very curious to know who a supervisor is and what are its roles and responsibilities. He also wants to understand how to manage the blue-collar workforce and employee relationships. And then he has also heard that a supervisor needs to be mentor, trainer, and manage the teams. So he wanted more details and wants to understand his responsibilities towards the effective resource planning and the shop floor management. So we will discuss all these topics, and in the end, we will also take a look at what skills and competencies a supervisor would require. Okay. So let's explain all these things to the Subodh, who has just become a new supervisor. Okay. So if we try to sum up, I can actually sum up the supervisor role into 3 sentences. Number 1, someone who is responsible for the productivity and actions of a small group of employees. Second, someone who has several manager-like roles, responsibilities, and power. And third, is more concerned with orchestrating and controlling work rather than performing it directly. Okay. So these are the 3 important perspectives which come up, when you have this particular role. Okay. Just one second. Now, so let's understand each of these 3 slightly more in detail. Number 1, on the shop floor, the first boss will always be the supervisor, and he is the one who is tasked with ensuring productive working of his team. Supervisor must take responsibilities of the actions by employees engaged in his department or function and ensure that this team works productively. He must monitor closely, show them the ways to improve and support them. Okay. So to do so, he has to have some authorities and responsibilities. So he has several manager-like responsibilities and powers. He can carry out their competency assessments, performance appraisals, and he can even take the punitive actions in case of repeat attitudinal issues. Okay. He has powers to take necessary actions for corrections as well as improve the productivity. He is also responsible for safe working and safety precautions as necessary. And supervisor is not required to do the work directly, as he has been doing in a workman role before he became a supervisor. Okay, but rather show the way and control the team's work. He's supposed to ensure the team is working as per the given instructions and guidelines. So that's a brief about what he does. Now, supervisor, if we look, he is actually very uniquely positioned because he is directly in the daily employee contact and he can respond to the employee needs, problems, and satisfaction. Okay. He is also the direct link between the management and the workforce and can be most effective in developing job training, safety attitudes, safe working methods, and even identifying the safe actions. Okay. So that's a brief about who is a supervisor. Okay. Now, having understood the broad perspective, our man Subodh is really now interviewed to know more details about it and understand the roles and responsibilities more clearly. So let's talk about the roles and responsibilities of a supervisor effectively. Okay. So the first major role a supervisor would have to play is of a mentor and a trainer. Okay. With years of experience, supervisors can be effective mentors to the employees, and he can play a very positive role model for the team. It is crucial that supervisor stays away from a do as I say mentality and make sure that he sets a good example through his daily actions. It's very natural for the people who have graduated from workman level to the supervisor to say that, do it as I'm saying. You don't have to apply the mind. But that's the wrong attitude. Supervisor actually has to support and mentor his people and guide them in terms of how to learn and how to take it forward. So that's where training is another important part of any supervisor's day-to-day activity. And this is especially important when you hire someone new to the team. And on the shop floor, with a higher attrition or with a higher turnover of the workers, a new team member will have to be trained constantly, and that becomes a supervisor's role and responsibility. The second major role is managing conflicts between the team members. Okay. Ideally, team members will always get along. They will always, be nice to each other. But sometimes it doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen all the time. Right? So when these conflicts happen, that time as a supervisor, it becomes his responsibility to handle those conflicts gracefully. It is also important that you put your personal feelings aside as a supervisor and handle the situation as an objective professional. Okay. If possible, you should even get someone from the human resource involved as well. But your immediate attention to any conflict occurring becomes your first priority over there. Okay. The third role is of disseminating information within the organization. So most of the businesses use a top-down organizational structure, which means that decisions are made at the top and then they are pressed downwards. Okay. Management will also like to meet and discuss the things and then have the supervisors actually pass on the information to the next level of the employees. So as a supervisor, it becomes his responsibility to keep an open line of communication with the employees. And if they come to know something that the management has told them, if it's something which the employees will get affected by, it becomes very imperative for these people to talk to the employees, discuss it over, and ensure that your team is never out of the communication loop. So that's again, another important part about it. The last major majority you take on as a supervisor is to get goals and measures outcomes. Okay. So at the heart of any business is the work its employees do daily. And as a supervisor, it becomes your role to set goals for your team and monitor the performance. As a manager, you can try to motivate each employee by setting individual goals and following up. You may even take disciplinary action if the unexpected behavior occurs. But this becomes your key roles and responsibilities. So mentoring and training of employees, managing conflicts between team members, disseminating information within the organization, and setting goals and major outcomes. These are the important roles and responsibilities of a supervisor. Okay. Now, our man Subodh also understands that supervisors are the link between the management and the shop floor. But he again wants to know more clearly that what exactly it means. So let's talk about that. So first, he's right. The supervisors are the crucial link between the management and the shop floor. And as part of that, supervisor works with the top and middle management very, very closely. He has to be engaged in developing the goals and approaches, executing the plans, even checking the progress and reporting the results of what has been achieved. Okay. He brings in the shop floor perspective to the management while developing the goals and tries to keep those goals very realistic based upon what can be achieved based according to his experience. So that's a first thing which he does. The second, supervisor also works with the operators and other shop floor team. He would share the goals agreed upon along with the management, and he would also seek the team's views on how to execute and achieve them. Okay? He would also provide the necessary training and education needed to meet the goals. So that's the second part he would work. Now the third part is supervisor is also supposed to work with the customers. And we don't say that the customers are the ones who are the end customers always, but they can also be the somebody who is in the downstream process so that shop floor activities are regulated and aligned to the customer satisfaction goals. And he also has to understand the requirements very clearly, control the process to assure that the customer satisfaction is guaranteed. Okay? So that's the third area which he works upon. The fourth area which he works upon is, since he works with the customer, he also has to work with the suppliers. So that's a downstream process, okay? Oh, sorry, upstream process. So he works with the suppliers, which is upstream process. And here he provides feedback, shares his requirements for the next process. He also may receive some education or training from his upstream people to upgrade his process, activities, and even team based upon what his suppliers tell him that how the things can really happen. So he works in a 360-degree manner. He works upwards, downwards, and both sideways to ensure that he is connected on all the sides and he can keep the communication flowing very smoothly. So that is what the roles and responsibility broadly about a supervisor are about. Okay. Now, Subodh gets a fair enough idea about what are the roles and responsibilities of a supervisor. But he also has heard repeatedly that as a supervisor, he will be required to work with the blue collar workers and also manage the employee relationships. So now, obviously, he wants to understand that how do you manage and motivate the blue collar workers and how do you handle the employee relationships effectively. So let's talk a bit about that as well. Okay. So who are the blue collar workers? These are typically the working class, and if we actually look, they generally earn lower income than the white collar workers. Okay, and their job includes working on the shop floor where there is a significant amount of the work labor is involved. Okay, these are also usually a larger percentage of the total workforce and very crucial to the success of any business. If you have got 100 people in the company and there's a manufacturing setup, chances are that you would have at least 40–50% of your people as the shop floor workers. So their percentages, compared to other roles, is higher. Okay? And despite this important role they play of actually carrying out the production and actually, working, most of the modern management practices which people would talk about in the company are usually aimed at the white collar workers only. And most of these blue collar workers are not trained about this. But if we really want to be successful in the company, we need both the types of employees, which is the blue collar and the white collar, to be managed effectively and trained and educated equally well. Okay. Before I move on, let me also, give a kind of a background. Who are these blue collar workers? Why do we call them as the blue collar? So typically over a period of time, for a long time rather, people used to wear the blue overalls, and they used to be the denim or jeans based kind of the blue overall. They were with the hard material clothes so that A, it would not get dirty easily, and B is that it will not tear off very easily. Since this was a blue in the color, because the blue doesn't show the dirt and grime very easily, these guys became known as the blue collar workers. So that's a background about why we call them as the blue collar workers. Okay. So let's talk about what can be done to motivate these blue collar workers. So it's very important that we have to keep them motivated, and motivation is one prime factor for increasing the productivity. In the earlier sessions, we have talked quite a lot about what tools and methodologies can be deployed to increase the productivity. But number one factor when it comes down to man is that you have to have highly motivated manpower. Okay. So when we have to come back and talk about the blue collar worker motivation, there are a few things which we can do. So number one, it is good if supervisors and managers can include the blue collar workers in the company meetings and even encourage them to voice their suggestions and opinions. Okay. Blue collar workers can provide insider information that can help improve processes, working conditions, and equipments. Okay. Since they work day in, day out on the shop floor, they have a lot of insights. And if somebody actually asks for that, they can provide a lot of good information which can be crucial for making right decisions. And if you do so, this also helps in promoting the trust and positive involvement for all the parties involved into this. The second which supervisor can do is he can always ensure that the employees are provided with the proper equipment and tools which can boost the safety, productivity, and morals. Okay. So right equipment is very important over here. Third, the employee's performance can be regularly evaluated, and a good, adequate feedback must be provided back to the employees so that they understand that where to improve upon and where the performance can be better. Okay. If there are certain issues and a disciplinary action also has to be taken, and there are certain uncooperative or abusive workers, then again this has to be done in a very professional and a consistent manner. It should not be something which is, a very personal biased approach, but rather a professional approach. Okay. Then the next thing is also very important that the short-term and long-term goals for the employees and department also must be set, and they should be set in such a way that people can recognize them and understand and also perform based upon those short-term and long-term goals. Okay? So that's another part which also would be important. Hardworking and capable workers should always be given a chance either to work on the special projects or encouraged to do something new, because that helps to improve their skill sets, and it also motivates them because they get a recognition that something special has been given to them out of the top. So that's again another motivation factor. And the last point is that whenever company is growing, we need to remember that the company is growing because of the hard work done by the blue collar workers. So we must share the company's success, and this can be done by compensating well and making improvements to work-centered services. And these not be the monetary things, they can be non-monetary things. It could be like improved break areas, utilities, facilities, and so on and so forth, by which the workers can become much more productive over there and they become motivated. Okay, so it's in short, we know that if the workers are engaged and they're happy, then they tend to be much more productive, and that's where the supervisor should engage them as much as possible. Okay, so also the fact remains that almost every business faces the blue collar labor shortage. Sometimes it comes from the demographics, sometimes it comes from the economic trends, and it's a known fact that as the younger generation comes into the work, they do not want to take up the blue collar job. They want to take up the white collar job because it pays better and there is a less physical work. Okay, so it is very important that you're able to retain your employees who have the good relations, and you're also able to motivate the new guys to come in and join to the workforce and retain them again. So since blue collar workers serve as the foundation of all labor industries, and with current blue labor shortages, individual companies should provide competitive salaries and benefits that reflect this status. Now, this may not be under the control of supervisor, but supervisor can actually recommend and help on this particular side. Okay. Now, I'll just give an example that today, if you look back at the COVID-19 scenario, there are a lot of companies who are wooing these blue collar workers with very attractive incentives and benefits. Some are even sending out the chartered flights and then providing them other benefits so that they can get the good blue collar workers back. So this is again another example how you can maintain good relationships. But not everything can be monetary or monetary benefits, and we can rather look up at the non-monetary benefits and perks, like it could be flexible working hours, it could be affordable health insurance, it could be opportunities for the career growth, and so on and so forth. These things also help in building up the better trust and relationships. Okay, Blue collar workers are the most hardworking people on the job. They do the physical work the maximum. Okay. So not only their work is physically demanding, but can also be emotionally demanding as well. So showing the appreciation for their time and efforts which they contribute to the company can also go way long beyond the wages also. A small appreciation sometimes is much more, beneficiary rather than just, giving them monetary benefits. Okay. And this employee recognition program can be in many forms, constituting formal rewards and recognition platform. That can be one of the effective way. And even recommendations from the supervisors can be a major role into this. Okay. Employees should feel that management cares about their working environment and invests into the safe working condition for all. And again, over here, supervisors can play a vital role in identifying where the safety improvements can be done, where the work environment can be improved, and so on and so forth. Okay. Last, we also talked about that blue collar workers have valuable insights into how the business works on the shop floor. And those small but very valuable information management may not be aware about. So including these people into decision-making process, making them feel their perspectives are valued and supervisor promotes them can again be a very, very important part in motivating them. So if we do some of these things, this can definitely help us in improving the employee relations and even lead to the longer retention. And supervisor plays an important role into initiating these things and carrying them forward. So that's how the employee relationships by the supervisors can be managed out. Okay. So Subodh now has got clarity on what is the role and responsibility and how the employee relationship can be done, blue collar management can be done, but he wants to understand more. And he has heard a lot that supervisors are supposed to be mentors, trainers, and they have to manage the teams. So he wants to understand that how do you do that. So let's talk a little bit about how the mentoring, training, and managing of the team also can be done. So if we look into the mentoring, number one, the fact remains that, as we said in the beginning itself also, that the first boss to whom a new employee would interact with, or any employee would rather interact with, would be the supervisor. He remains as the first primary contact, and he is the first person to whom any person on the shop floor will first escalate any kind of an issue. Okay, so it's very important that supervisor understands that he is the first touch point, first escalation point for his team. Okay, and in any case of difficulty, any kind of a lack of knowledge or any lack of clarity on the job expectations, where do the team members go? They cannot go down to the MD of the company or a production manager and so on and so forth. They will again come back to the supervisor, right? So he can again guide them, he can support them, he can tell them what to do and so on and so forth. So he becomes a mentor to his team members in true sense. He supports them, he guides them, and even protects them. So if they have done something wrong, which needs to be corrected, but it is unintentional, then again, supervisor is the first one to step in and say that I know that something has gone wrong, but this was not intentional. I would ensure that these people don't do this again. So he can get into a more of a parental role, more of a protective role as well. So that also again supervisor becomes one. Now he can also work with the new employees, also including the existing ones, of course, by default. And that's where you can identify the new areas where potentially everybody can grow, again support them into the growth, even help them to develop certain knowledge patterns and so on and so forth, and even work along with them on the continuous improvement areas which can help the employees as well as the organization. So that's a mentoring part of the supervisor. The second part which comes in is that supervisors are also supposed to be good trainers or need to be trainers. Okay. Now, as a supervisor, obviously I have worked for many years as a tradesman, as a workman. I have also seen the multiple team. I have also seen the best way that the people work upon. So as a supervisor, I carry a lot of work experience and I carry a lot of knowledge about what are the best practices and how the things happen. I also carry a lot of knowledge about where things can go wrong and how to prevent them from going wrong. So it is very important that supervisor himself conducts the trainings and he shows that how the work can be done in a more effective and the best practice oriented manner. Okay. Now, if he demonstrates, he supports the training requirements, he carries out the training himself, and he also identifies that who needs what kind of the training, even trains them and cross skills others also. It also shows that there is a trust factor between the employees and the supervisor, and supervisor can also pass on the good knowledge to the people. But it also shows that company is also committed to the training program. So continuous training from the supervisor, investment from the supervisor into training his people also helps to ensure that the people really learn better on the job. Getting a external trainer sometimes doesn't work because the nitty-gritties of a particular operation are best taught by the person who knows, who can do it himself, and that supervisor. Okay. However, supervisors themselves may not be good trainers. They may know a lot of things. So it is important that we also train the supervisor to become a good trainer. If they become a good trainer, we train them. It definitely helps the trainer supervisors to be good trainers and support their team. Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about how do you manage the team. So supervisor needs to ensure the team's efficiencies and also build a very positive environment in which the team works. Okay. So to manage the team's performance in their activities, a supervisor can do many things. I've just listed out few of the things which the supervisor can take up. So first thing which he can do, he can manage the workflow. That is, he should create and oversee his team's workflows. And what is workflow? In simple words, I would say he identifies the task, he lays down the sequence of the tasks which have to be done to complete a particular job. So supervisor is supposed to identify all the tasks, identify the sequence, and hand it over to the people and make them understand that those tasks are being done in the correct way. Okay. Second, what he can do is that when a new employee joins the team, he can immediately help them to understand what is their role and also support them during the transition. So a new person can be eased into the working with the help of the supervisor. Third, they can create and manage the work schedule for their teams, which means that what the tasks have to be done by the people, he creates a schedule for them, he creates a sequence of them, he interlocks them along with the other workers, and he helps the workers to balance their performance and work. Okay. So when he balances and manages the performance, that again helps the team to be working better. Supervisor would also be responsible for reporting the team's work and the individual performance to the HR and senior management. He also, as a part of the team management activity, is supposed to develop and administer performance improvement plans, maybe even take the disciplinary actions, ensure that people adhere to the necessary company policies, and in case there are any kind of a variance, any kind of a non-compliances, handle them and even escalate them to the management and HR. They're also all part of the team management activities. Okay. And similarly, supervisor is also supposed to provide a feedback on the performance so that based upon that feedback, the people who have to be recognized can also be done. So recognition program feedback can also be provided by the supervisor. Okay. Supervisors, since they are the closest to the employees, they can also very easily identify and support the hardworking employees for their career advancement. So they can identify and say that where the which particular employee is better working person, hardworking person, and who should be promoted or should be given extra special assignment or supported in their career development. The last one is that, as we have talked earlier also, supervisors are the first point of outreach in case of any difficulty or conflict. So deploying the active listening skills, supervisors can help in mitigating the issues effectively, and they can control the conflict on the shop floor. Though while this happens, they should still inform the HR that such kind of the things have happened. So HR can work along with the supervisors to avoid them in the future. But They are the first point of conflict management when this kind of the issues occur on the shop floor. So these are some of the things which a supervisor can do to manage their team. Okay. So now let's talk about supervisor. Our man, the new supervisor Subodh, he is now actually more curious, and now he wants to understand that okay, I got the people, I can manage them, but how do I do the resource planning? And what is shop floor management? What do I do, to manage the shop floor? So let's also talk about that a little bit. Okay. So supervisor is the one who is responsible for meeting the manufacturing deadlines, as well as communicating the business goals, programs, and processes for the entire shop floor. Okay. He needs to carry out the planning of the material, human resources, sequence of operations, equipment availability, and so on and so forth. He also needs to plan out for the continuous improvement activities and various trainings as required. And he has to link it backwards to what the production goals are, what the production plans have been handed over to him, and then align the various resources to execute those plans. Okay. We will, resource planning is a major topic. It is always understood and assumed that the production planning will be done centrally from the top management, and the production managers and the production executives will be driving it. But the fact remains that on the shop floor, whether the manpower is available or not, whether the equipment is working in perfect condition or not, coordinating along with the maintenance for any kind of a downtime issue, coordinating with HR for any kind of a people issue or material issue with the stores people and so on and so forth, they all become the responsibility of the supervisor. He has to look at the finer detail, the micro detail. The second part he has to do is he has to manage the shop floor. Now, when the shop floor management comes down, then what is it? We basically, say that he has to manage, he has to direct and manage the resources and processes on the shop floor. And that's where his primary target will be that how does he deliver the quality delivery within a cost, which has been specified to him. Okay. The second thing he has to look into it is that how does he have the productive team, which gives him a productivity, which works in a safe mode, and has a high morale. So his secondary targets become the productivity, safety, and morale. Okay. Now, on the shop floor, with some planning against a goal and everything, you have to carry out certain set of activities which are on a regular and frequent basis. And they have to be done in such a manner that they prevent any existing or any potential problem related to the availability and performance of equipment, materials, people, information, and methods. Okay. So when he does the planning, when he identifies that I need the people, I need the equipment, I need the material, he also has to ensure that there is something being done to ensure that those things are available to him on a regular basis. He cannot, stand up one day and say that I'm sorry, but I don't have the material on my shop floor, I can't produce, or I don't have the equipment working, maintenance people have not taken care of it, so I can't work upon it. He has to do something which ensures that his equipment, his material, everything is consistently available to him. Okay, so that's what we call about the shop floor management. So he has to ensure, or rather shop floor management as a concept is all about making sure that the systems are working properly and according to the plans. And whenever there is a problem or potential of a problem, immediate corrective actions are taken to restore the system to properly function once again. And shop floor management will focus on daily performance, and that will involve solving the problems immediately to get out of the firefighting mode and even into controlled performance. Okay, and that's where the shop floor supervisor must lead these shop floor management practices. He has to ensure those good shop floor management practices are in place. Until and unless those practices are in place, he will not be able to drive the change, and he will not be able to ensure that he's able to meet his earlier goals of quality, delivery, and cost. So to meet these goals, he has to have certain those practices in place. Okay. So let's look into briefly that what are the various tools which a daily shop floor manager, for the daily shop floor management, the supervisor can deploy. Okay. Now, a shop floor management can be done via the supervisor using the various workplace organization tools, which include the 5S. Okay, he can use even the visual management. He can use the information sectors. He can use the standardized works for the various leaders. He can also use, daily work management practices and so on and so forth. So there are multiple, lean tools which are available, which he can use and deploy for ensuring that the daily shop floor management practices are in place. Some of these methodologies, some of the things which he can do is he must do a daily team meeting, beginning or end of the shop floor activities or the start of a shift should begin with a meeting along with the workers where you can set up the goals, where you can talk about what has to be produced today. You can talk about that what was achieved in the last shift and what are the variances. You can talk about that what are the improvement areas which they have to focus upon. You can also talk about the good practices to be adopted during the day and so on and so forth. So daily team meetings become very important. Second, what he can do is that he can do the daily management walkabouts. That's where he can walk through the entire shop floor, minutely noting what is being done, what is lying where, why it is lying at some particular point, what is the condition of the material of the equipment and so on and so forth. Do the people have the right task identified for them or not? Do the people have a clarity about what they have to deliver and so on and so forth? And with those, he can take the corrective actions in case something is not correctly working and also support the team. He can also, on the spot, tell the worker or tell his team that how to do this particular operation if they don't understand it. Or if there is something missing, then he can immediately swing into action and ensure that those things are into the place. Okay. The other thing which he can do is on a regular basis, he can do the Gemba walk, which is nothing but the process audits. Maybe one of these days we will also have a session on the Gemba walk and explain that how does it happen. But he can carry out a Gemba walk where he focuses that is the process working as anticipated? Is the process behaving as it is supposed to? Are the people able to follow the process correctly? Are there any ambiguities or any non-compliances happening which need to be taken care of? So he can also carry out the process audits, and this can help him to manage his shop floor effectively. So that's something which he can do on a regular basis. Now, that's to manage the shop floor on a daily basis, but he also has to look forward and say that how can he continuously improve upon the shop floor. So it's not just that, I'm doing something good and that's good. I'm very happy with that. No, he has to grow beyond it. And he also has to ensure that there are more improvements into the working and shop floor is continuously improving. So that's where he can deploy multiple tools like the value stream mappings, plan, do, check, act, kind of the PDCA cycles, various practical problem solving tools, report them using the E3, D3, D8, all those kind of reporting tools and so on and so forth. And that's where you can use the standardized working. He can create teams and promote the Kaizens. He can actually initiate the quality circles. He can bring in the improvement katas. So various things he can do on the shop floor, which helps in ensuring that there is a continuous improvement of whatever is being done on the shop floor. The shop floor doesn't stop at what is being done as a best practice. Rather, each best practice is further improved to increase the productivity, increase the output, increase the morale of the people, improve the safety, improve the workplace, and so on and so on. So that's where supervisor plays a major role, and combined along with the earlier activities which we mentioned about, I'm sorry. So the various tools which we talked about, the various methodologies we talked about for daily work, they can also be augmented along with the continuous improvement tools. So that's again, something which is the role and responsibility and a major action to be performed by the supervisor. Okay. So now, when we ask so many things to be done by the supervisor, okay, it is very obvious that there will have to be certain skills and competencies which are required by the supervisor. Okay, he is supposed to now perform mentoring role. He is supposed to be a coach. He is supposed to be a trainer. He's supposed to do the team management. He's supposed to do resource planning. He's supposed to carry out the shop floor management using the best practices, lean tools, and so on and so forth. Manage the blue collar workforce and even maintain the right employee relationships and so on and so forth. So there have to be certain skills and competencies required of the supervisor. So let's take a quick look into what kind of these skills and competencies a supervisor must have. Okay. So again, I'm not listing out every skill and competency which is required by the supervisor. We are going to talk about some of these skills and competencies, some prominent ones. Again, we are not going to go over here into the technical skills and competencies because they will vary from the job profile to job profile, company to company, the processes and the equipment they work with, and so on and so forth. But they have certain common, skill and competencies required. So we will talk about that. The first one is excellent communication skills. And this is the first thing which the supervisor must, have. He has to be able to talk to the higher management, communicate along with them effectively. He must be able to, talk about the issues on the shop floor to the management, and also talk back to the team in terms of what the management expectations are. So he has to have good communication skills to communicate the issues on both the sides. Second thing, he has to have expertise into his team and department, which means that he has to have superior technical and functional skills compared to his team. If he can do whatever the team can do far better, and he can demonstrate his superior skills, the respect by the team will actually increase. Okay. So if he doesn't have the better skills, the team is not going to respect him. So it's very important that supervisor has higher expertise than the team into his work area. Okay. Third important part, supervisor should be able to handle the pressure. Okay. Being professional and managing the situation is very crucial, as it not only lets the team member learn from the supervisor, but also increases the respect for the supervisor in the eyes of the workers. Okay. If he now becomes personal, he becomes biased, he becomes agitated, he becomes angry, he is not able to handle the situation, then the workers are not going to respect him as a supervisor. They are actually looking up at him to help them to come out of the pressure situation. So ability to handle pressure is a very, very important skill and competency required by the supervisor. The firm grasp of the company policies, that's again another major area. If the supervisor doesn't understand of the company policies, he will not be able to effectively employ them and also deploy them on the shop floor and bring the discipline in the workforce. So he has to understand the company policies very, very clearly. The next one is that the supervisor has to have his strong work ethics. Your team learns from you. Okay? And if they see you firm on your work ethics, despite all kind of the constraints, the whole shop floor morale would be very, very different. They will be very effective, they will be very positive, and they will support you. Okay? So it's very important that you demonstrate the strong work ethics. Similarly, punctuality and time management skills are very important. Again, you are the role model for your team. If you manage your time well, if you are punctual, you will not have to drive so many times these things with your workers, because your team learns that you are punctual, you manage your time well. They will like to learn from you and also improve their own time management. So it's very important that we demonstrate these skills. Professionalism and a positive attitude, that's a must. Keeping your personal bias aside while dealing with the situation and focusing on a problem and solving that rather than holding others accountable for that particular problem is a very important skill for the supervisor. I cannot go out and blame somebody saying that because of you, this thing is not working. Rather, I have to take a very objective view and I have to find out the root cause, assist my team, and help them to overcome that particular issue. So that professionalism and positive attitude is very important. Okay. The next one is that I have to have, as a supervisor, very high organizational capabilities. I should be able to organize the teams, resources, and shop floor using multiple tools and methodologies we talked about earlier to meet the goals of the shop floor. If we cannot organize things, then we will not be able to deliver, and our team will not be able to succeed. So it's very important that we don't let the team fail by not being able to organize. The other thing which comes in as a important thing is that since the supervisor, I'm sure that you would have understood by now, is a leadership role, it's important that you as a supervisor constantly look up that how you can improve your own leadership qualities. What are the new things by which you can manage your team better? What are the things by which you can demonstrate that you're a better leader? That becomes very important. So your continuous interest into the leadership is also a necessary skill from a supervisor perspective. So these are some of the skills which can be, which are needed into a supervisor. I'm sure that there are more skills and competencies and very specific to a particular, job also. But we will talk about them at some other point. The ones which we talked about are the core ones which a supervisor must have. Okay. So now our this new supervisor, he realizes that shop floor supervisor is nothing but a shop floor leader. He is the shop floor leader. Okay. And as a shop floor leader, he must have knowledge and skills in team coordination and work delegation. He must know how to solve the daily shop floor problems using the right tools. Okay. He should not solve them by the gut feel, but using the right information tools and the scientific tools so that your problems are solved properly. His ability to build and maintain an effective team helps him to meet his targets and commitments to the management. Okay. And he must learn the techniques to implement and improve the work standards continuously. And even, continuously find out the new ways and set the higher work standards on an ongoing basis. Okay. And he must play the shop floor role of HR. He is the HR manager on the shop floor. And that doesn't involve only monitoring, coaching, and guiding, but it also involves conducting and evaluating performance reviews, providing the reviews, and providing positive feedbacks, whereby he can help his team to improve their team as well as individual performance. So now Subodh has understood well that shop floor supervisor is the shop floor leader, and he has to act as his leader and not just as somebody who is responsible for few things only. It's a leadership role which he is supposed to play over here. Okay. So towards the end, I think to sum up quickly, now Subodh is understanding very clearly that our supervisor is a mentor, he is a coach, he is a facilitator, he is a manager, and he is also a planner. He also has to do the resource planning. He has to work with everybody, whether it is the top management, shop floor teams, upstream and downstream people, and he has to have a good relationship with not only his team, but also the teams impacting his work. So the inter-team and inter-team relationship also have to be there. He has to be able to solve the problems, and he has to be able to improve upon the work standards. Okay, so these are some of the core skills and competencies and the roles and responsibilities a supervisor has to play it out. Okay, now when we talk about these kind of the roles and responsibilities and the skills and competencies required, obviously a new supervisor may not be ready to take on those roles. So our man Subodh is a smart guy. He realizes that he needs to be trained on some of these things. He goes back to his own HR manager and says that can he be sent onto some leadership, some managerial and supervisory skill trainings? Can he be trained on what is the daily shop floor management mechanism? What are the tools and techniques and methodologies to be deployed over there, so that he can become an effective shop floor supervisor? And then he also wants to understand how to deploy the problem solving tools, how to deploy the Kaizens and quality circles and so on and so forth. So he actually goes out and says that please train me on these tools and techniques so I can become an effective supervisor. Okay. So to sum up again, we normally feel that supervisor is the one who is 8-10 years or 10-12 years of experience holder, is a senior worker, so let's make him a supervisor. But let's understand very clearly that supervisor is the key person on the shop floor. That's why we said that he is more like a CEO of the company. If he doesn't perform his job properly, the shop floor will not be able to work productively. But if he understands his role, he is competent enough, he has been trained enough, then he can definitely bring wonders on the shop floor and turn out very high productivity from his team. Okay. So as Subodh realizes that supervisor needs several training and guidances to become an effective supervisor, we also recognize the need that the various companies, various shop floor people need good training to become effective supervisors. So Skilltelligent and Auto University, we can always help you out and your organizations to get the training done on shop floor for your supervisors and your executive team, on the shop floor frontline leaders, on the various tools, methods, and skills required for the supervisory role. We conduct trainings on the lean manufacturing tools, shop floor management, supervisory skills, operation excellence, and job-specific workman trainings. Please contact us for any information you require or any requirements you have on this, and we would be more than happy to support you out on this. So that's all from my side. Thank you for attending this webinar. And Kishore, in case there are any questions from the team or from the participants, we can definitely take them up right now. Thank you once again.
Sure. Thank you, Akul sir. So let me tell you, it was indeed a wonderful, informative presentation. And we are getting some questions. Let me just go through. Yeah. The first question comes here is, what is involved in shop floor management?
So, shop floor management is a larger topic, and that's where the supervisor has to be really, engaged into. Shop floor management is all about making sure that the systems are working properly, and whatever plans have been laid out, whatever the production goals have been set up, shop floor can deliver them. So how do you manage the shop floor to deliver your production goals is what shop floor management is all about. It focuses on achieving the daily performance of the workforce, equipment, material, processes, planning, everything. So it tries to manage all these areas together. And it's a combination of set of daily activities performed on regular and frequent basis, which help in addressing and preventing any kind of a potential problem or a potential failure which can happen and which can hamper the production on the shop floor. And shop floor management activities are focused, as we said, to meet the basic goals of quality, delivery, and cost, while ensuring that the team has high productivity, it's a safe working environment, and the morale of the team is very high. So that's what the shop floor management is about. This is as I said, it's a larger topic. We can always, take up this as a very detailed webinar as well, or maybe even conduct the training sessions on this, maybe in the future.
Thank you, sir. There's one more interesting question coming in. How do you improve blue-collar relationship? What role supervisor can play? And says, is it not the role of HR?
Good question. So, yes, it's a role of HR as well. Always, whenever a relationship comes in or the conflict management comes in, but HR is always far away from the shop floor. Okay, so the nearest person and the first contact person or the first primary contact is always the supervisor. Okay, and he is the first escalation point for the team. So if the blue collar relationship has to be managed, if the blue collars have to be effectively mentored and trained, if they have to be engaged effectively on the shop floor and really motivated, then the supervisor is the first person who comes into the mind when it is on the shop floor. Okay, and we talked about the supervisor plays a role of mentor, and he also trains them. He also brings a lot of knowledge of the working processes, best practices, and so on. So he actually can guide and support his team better, and that's what helps into building up a good relationship. He is the first person who can build good trust and even demonstrate a lot of good things. He can also help the team to learn those good things as well. Okay, so that's the reason why we say that the shop floor supervisor is the first person and the best person to play the role of even HR on the shop floor. Okay, what roles he can play? As I said, mentor, trainer, support to his team, managing the particular team, helping out into different kind of the planning activities, helping the team into managing the day-to-day activities, and so on and so forth. So these are the multiple things which supervisor can play, and that helps into building up the good relationship with the blue collar. Okay. So again, HR, yes, is important, but the first contact point is to remain supervisor, and supervisor, if required, can do a backward coordination along with the HR and help into setting up the better practices.
Thank you, sir. The next question comes in. How can a supervisor be involved in setting goals and measures? Is it not the role of management?
See, management sets higher strategic goals. They will always come back and say that, we need to increase the production to so much, or this is my revenue target, and this is what we have to achieve. And they will break it down to saying that this department has to achieve what, and so on and so forth. But they also need the feedback and inputs from the shop floor that whatever the goals and targets are being set, they are real, they're realistic, and they are achievable. Okay, so that's where the supervisor, who is the closest to the workforce, can actually provide the realistic feedback. Okay, and that's why his involvement and inputs into setting up the goals and measurements are very, very crucial. Similarly, again, once the goals have been set by the management, supervisor is the one who conveys these goals and measures to the team. And he also has to provide the necessary training, education, and related inputs to the team to achieve these goals. So supervisor has to be involved into the setting up the goals and measurements, though it remains as a larger role of the management. His inputs and his ability to communicate it back to the team is a very crucial into making the goals achievable. So that's why supervisor has to be involved into it.
Thank you, sir. The next question, is it not necessary for a supervisor to be technically strong?
Yes, he has to be technically strong. I think I talked about it, that he has to be expert into his own area and department or function. He has to be able to demonstrate better and superior skills to his team, and only when he can demonstrate the best practices, demonstrate the higher skills, his team will believe into him. Okay, also to be able to solve the problems for his team, he has to know technically, he has to be technically superior. Then only he can by his experience and his expertise, solve the problems for his team or help the team to solve the problem. So supervisor has to be technically strong, no two doubts about that.
Thank you, sir. Here we come to the end of the session, sir.
Good questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So formally here we close our session. This is not focused on roles and responsibilities of the supervisor. Supervisor is the connecting link between the shop floor workers and the management. Its roles becomes more critical. He not only has to get the production done as per the plan, but at the same time, he has to keep his team motivated and maintain healthy relationships. I take this opportunity to thank you, Atul sir, for being with us and sharing your insight, your knowledge, experience with us. I also take this opportunity to thank all the participants for being with us. And I would like to announce here that our next session will be held on coming Friday, that is 24th of July at 4 p.m. same time. Thank you very much. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.